with my cousin, but now he refused to marry me. When my uncle found out, he teamed up with his son to, Nadir, what are you doing in my room this late at night? If someone sees you, it'll be a scandal. I was shocked to see him climb in through the window. My heart raced at the thought of what would happen if my mom found out. Smiling, Nadir walked closer, grabbed my hand, and pulled me into his arms. Why are you so scared all the time, Shamim? If you love me, show it, he said boldly. I stepped back and told him, listen, Nadir, it's better if you leave now. If you truly love me, talk to Uncle and send a marriage proposal. Only then can we be together. Sneaking around like this, you will ruin our reputation if we're caught. Mom will never forgive me. But my words didn't sit well with him. His face turned sour. It's such a beautiful night, Shamim, he said with a mischievous grin. The cold is getting worse. Imagine how nice it would be if we were under the same blanket. Before I could react, he gently pushed me onto the bed. I tried to stop him, placing my hand on his lips to prevent him from crossing the line. This is wrong, Nadir. Please leave, I whispered, panicking. But he didn't listen. It's so hard to stay away from you in this cold, Shamim. Please let me fulfill my desires, he murmured, his lips grazing my ear, sending shivers down my spine. I loved Nadir deeply. I wanted to be his, but not like this. Not without marriage. I knew the value of my dignity. A girl's honor is as fragile as glass. Turning my face away, I said, if you truly love me, you would prove it by marrying me. Instead, you keep sneaking in like this. You don't even have the courage to speak to your father or mine. How can I trust you? He laughed and sat beside me on the bed, his eyes fixed on me. I tried to cover myself with my shawl, but he grabbed my hand, playing with the buttons of my shirt. This beauty of yours, Shamim, will be the death of me, he whispered, resting his head on my chest. My heartbeat quickened at his touch. Your heartbeat is calling my name. Why do you keep pushing me away? Do you think I won't marry you? If I didn't want to marry you, why would I love you this much? The only reason for the delay is the tension between our mothers. You know how they've been at odds for years. If it weren't for them, I would have married you by now. As he spoke, he unbuttoned my shirt slightly. My youthful beauty seemed to intoxicate him. At 19, I was a young woman full of grace and charm, and he was drawn to me like a moth to a flame. He leaned in, pulling me into his arms again, his warmth igniting a fire within me. But before he could go any further, my mom's voice rang out from the other room. Shamim, it's cold. Make sure to close all the windows and doors. Nadir froze, startled. Panic flashed across his face. Without a word, he climbed back out the window the same way he came, leaving me with a heavy heart. He didn't even have the courage to face my mom or tell his own mother about us. How could he possibly send a marriage proposal? I had little hope that he would ever make things right. It felt like this love was destined to go nowhere. Every moment I was consumed by the same nagging thought. Would Nadir ever marry me? Tonight was no different. My mind was restless with worry. I quietly fastened the buttons of my shirt and stood before the mirror, taking a long look at myself. From head to toe, I saw a beautiful young woman staring back. Suitors came for me every day. Good, decent men. My mother wanted nothing more than to see me married and settled, but it was me who kept delaying, always coming up with one excuse or another. Sometimes Mom would remind me harshly, we're living off your uncle's generosity. He's covering all our expenses. He'll arrange your marriage too. But if you wait too long, no one will want to marry you, and your uncle won't keep supporting us forever. It's better to accept a good proposal now. I'd stay silent, unable to tell her that I only wanted to be her brother's daughter-in-law. That was a conversation Nadir should have had with her, but he lacked the courage. I'd told Nadir many times to speak to our families, to formalize our relationship, yet each time he found some excuse. Instead, he continued sneaking into my room, climbing through the window for secret meetings. I was exhausted. I didn't want to keep living in the shadows. I wanted a life of dignity, a love that didn't have to hide. Being with someone behind closed doors wasn't the life I dreamed of. That night, I tossed and turned in bed, praying desperately for Nadir to convince his family. The morning brought a shock that left me speechless. As soon as I stepped out of my room, my mother greeted me with news that shook my world. "Your uncle was here earlier," she said. "He's bringing a marriage proposal for you this evening. Make sure you're ready. He wants you married as soon as possible. You know how your aunt is. One wrong word from her, and your uncle might change his mind. I just want to see you settled so I can finally have peace. Your father doesn't care about us. Ever since he divorced me, he hasn't even remembered that he has a daughter." Mom's usual complaints about my father faded into the background as her words echoed in my mind. My uncle was bringing a proposal for me. I didn't say anything to her, but as soon as I was back in my room, I grabbed my phone and called Nadir. It took him forever to answer. When he finally picked up, his voice was groggy. "Darling, I was dreaming about you," he said. "I was holding you in my arms, loving you." His words made my blood boil. "Nadir," I snapped, my anger spilling over. "You can keep dreaming all you want because your father is bringing a proposal for me tonight. I won't marry anyone else. But if you don't act now, I'll tell your father everything, that we love each other and want to get married." His panicked voice came through the line. "Shamim, don't do that. My father would kill me and my mother. You know how much she hates you and your mom. She'll make your lives miserable. Please don't make things worse." I let out a bitter laugh. "You should have thought of all this before falling in love with me, Nadir. How much longer do you expect me to suffer in this uncertainty? You're peacefully sleeping while I'm burning with worry. I can't imagine marrying anyone else. For years you've been telling me you love me. So why haven't you made me yours?" He sighed, his tone softening. "Don't worry, I'll do something. For now, just go along with whatever my father says tonight. I'll handle him afterward." His words silenced me for now, but my heart remained heavy. I spent the entire day in restless anticipation. My mom was busy cleaning the house and preparing different dishes in the kitchen. She even told me to pick out a nice outfit, but eventually she chose one for me herself. Later, she brought me her gold locket and said, "I've been saving this for your wedding. Your uncle said the family is wealthy, so I want you to wear it tonight." Reluctantly, I put on the outfit and the locket, getting ready as she insisted. But as I applied lipstick, tears began streaming down my face. Deep down, I wanted to do all of this for Nadir, not for anyone else. Somehow, I managed to finish getting ready and called Nadir. "This is unbearable for me," I told him. "I'm in so much pain. I think I'll just tell Uncle everything and let him decide once and for all." What he said next left me completely stunned. "Listen, Shamim," he began softly. "My parents won't agree right now. But if you really want to fix everything, there's a way. I'll come for you tonight. Slip out quietly in the dark, and we'll get married. Later, we'll tell everyone. But until then, don't mention my name to anyone, or everything will fall apart." I was shocked. "Are you out of your mind?" I exclaimed. "You expect me to walk out of my house at night, knowing it would kill my mother from shame?" Nadir's tone hardened. "If you love me, Shamim, you'll have to do this. Otherwise, you can marry someone else. My mother will never accept you any other way." His sudden harshness shook me. I quickly replied, "I can't live without you, Nadir. I love you too much." "Then prepare to leave with me tonight," he said firmly. "For now, meet the guests. I'll pick you up later, and we'll have a court marriage. Once we return, no one will be able to object. We'll finally be together." Nadir painted a picture of a bright future, but I could barely think straight. Without another word, I ended the call. My mind raced, overwhelmed by what he had just asked of me. Leaving my house in secret? Disgracing my mother? It wasn't something I could do so easily. Later, the guests arrived. I carried a tray of tea into the room, where a well-dressed woman and a young man sat waiting. They seemed polite and well-educated. The boy spoke directly to me, his tone respectful and measured. By all accounts, he was a good match, a decent, accomplished man with a stable job as an assistant manager. But I couldn't see any of that. My heart was blinded by Nadir's love. To me, the boy sitting in front of me was nothing short of unbearable. I answered all his questions carelessly, giving rude and dismissive replies. The guests left after a while, but my mom was furious. "What kind of behavior was that?" she scolded me. He was a well-educated, decent boy with a great job, and you embarrassed me. You just want to sit here under your uncle's roof forever, don't you?" She was so angry that she stopped talking to me entirely. I sat there in silence, knowing how much I had hurt her. She had pinned all her hopes on this proposal, and I had ruined it. Still, there was a small part of me that felt relieved, like I had kept the door open for Nadir's love. 2 hours later, my mom's phone rang. It was my uncle. I watched her face light up as he shared the news. Her anger melted away, replaced by a smile I hadn't seen in a long time. My mom hung up the phone, hugged me tightly, and said, "They said yes to the proposal. They want to move quickly, and they don't even want a dowry." Her excitement was obvious, but I froze. How could they have agreed when I had been so rude to the boy, answering every question with sarcastic replies? Still, here she was, beaming with joy, rushing to take out some money to give in charity as a gesture of gratitude. I sat there stunned, unable to process what had just happened. Snapping out of my daze, I rushed to my room and dialed Nadir's number. When he answered, I blurted out sarcastically, "Congratulations, Nadir. My engagement is finalized, and I'll be married off soon. Don't forget to come and help set up the chairs at my wedding." There was silence on the other end before Nadir finally spoke, his voice low but firm. "Pack your things. Tonight I'll take you away. We'll get married tomorrow morning and then tell everyone about it. Once we're married, no one can separate us." His words made my anger boil over, but deep down, I knew he was right. This might be the only way for us to be together. My aunt hated us, resenting the fact that her husband supported us financially. She would never bring a proposal for me. My father had divorced my mom when I was only 4 years old, leaving us to fend for ourselves. He had remarried, and I had no idea why my parents' marriage had ended, but their separation had left our lives in ruins. After the divorce, my uncle had taken us in, but it didn't last long. My aunt couldn't tolerate us living under her roof. Uncle, being kind-hearted, rented a house for us and covered our expenses. He even got me enrolled in a public school, helping us survive. But my aunt's bitterness never faded. She would stir up trouble whenever possible, trying to stop my uncle from supporting us. She didn't even allow Nadir to visit our home, so he had to sneak in to see me. Nadir knew his parents would never accept our relationship. Telling them would only cause chaos, and they might even force my mom to leave the house. So as difficult as it seemed, running away and marrying in secret felt like our only option. Without thinking it through, I agreed. "Fine, but only if we return right after the marriage. I can't leave my mom worrying for too long," I told him. "Of course," he assured me. "I don't have a place for us to stay long-term anyway. We'll marry in the morning and come back to tell everyone." Later that night, I quietly prepared to leave. My mom slept in her room, and since no one else lived with us, it wasn't hard to slip out unnoticed. Trembling with fear, I crossed the threshold of my home, empty-handed, and got into Nadir's car. I was terrified of what my mom would do when she found me missing in the morning, but I consoled myself thinking, we'll be married by the time she finds out. I'll apologize and explain everything. What I didn't realize was how much trouble my decision would bring. At 2 a.m., Nadir picked me up and drove to a small, unfamiliar neighborhood. He said, "We'll spend the night here. I spoke to a friend, his family is out of town, and we can stay at his place. It's just for one night." The house was tiny, with only 2 rooms. I reluctantly nodded, my eyes filling with tears. My heart felt heavy with worry and regret. Thoughts of my mom kept haunting me, how she had lived such a difficult life after my father abandoned us. She had endured so much, never lifting her head in pride because of the weight of her brother's generosity. Now here I was, risking everything she had worked so hard to protect. My mom endured every insult from my aunt in silence. She would say, "Once you're married, Shamim, I'll finally find peace. I tolerate your aunt's humiliation for your sake. If I were alone, I might have ended my life. But I've borne every hardship for you. The day you leave this house as a bride will be the day I can rest in peace." And yet for that very marriage, I had stepped over the threshold of my home, betraying my mother's trust. I knew how deeply my actions would hurt her, but Nadir's love had blinded me. I sat quietly on the edge of the bed, overcome with guilt as tears streamed down my face. A while later, Nadir sat beside me, pulling me into his arms. I sobbed against his chest, but he didn't seem to care. Slowly, I felt his hand move to the zipper of my shirt. Alarmed, I pulled away. Nadir, I said, panicking, we'll be married tomorrow. After that, you can claim every right as my husband, but not now. He smiled and said, the weather is perfect, Shamim. It's just you and me here. No one to interrupt us. Why wait until tomorrow when we'll be married anyway? How can I keep my distance from you tonight? Before I could respond, he forced himself on me, leaving a mark on my neck. My heart raced with fear as I pushed him away. Stop it, Nadir, I cried. I don't want this. I love you, but not like this. After marriage, you can do whatever you want, but not now. Nadir's expression darkened. Are you out of your mind? Don't you trust me? What kind of love is this if you can't give yourself to me? I looked at him, trembling. I love you, but I can't go against my values. That's why I agreed to leave my home for marriage, not for this. His anger grew, and before I knew it, he overpowered me, ignoring my protests. I struggled to breathe, paralyzed by fear as he took what was never his to claim. By morning, I had lost my dignity. Tears poured down my face as the reality of what had happened sank in. The man I loved had turned out to be a monster. Nadir acted as though nothing had happened. Wait here for me, he said casually. I'll arrange everything for the marriage. And with that, he left, locking me inside the house. I sat there crying for hours, my body aching and my heart shattered. Morning turned to afternoon, then evening, and still, Nadir didn't return. I tried to leave, but the door was locked from the outside. Fear consumed me. There was no food, no way out, and the thought of my mother's pain was unbearable. I had planned to return home right after the wedding, but now I realized I had been utterly deceived. That night, Nadir finally returned. Once again, he forced himself on me. Through my tears, I asked, "Where were you all day? Why didn't you take me to get married?" He shrugged. "I couldn't arrange for witnesses. Once everything is ready, we'll get married." But I knew the truth now. Nadir had no intention of marrying me. The man who claimed to love me had revealed his true nature. He didn't want to give me respect or a future. He only wanted to satisfy his desires, and I was the one who had paid the price. My mom often said, "A man who truly loves you would never ask you to leave your home in the dead of night." But I hadn't listened. If I had, I wouldn't have subjected myself to the pain I was now enduring. 3 nights had passed, and I had been in Nadir's house, sharing his bed without any bond of marriage. Each night, he used me for his desires, treating me as if I were nothing more than a means to satisfy his whims. He had brought me a little food, but I didn't want to eat. All I wanted was to leave that house, to go back home, but Nadir gave me no chance. On the 3rd night, after he was done, he prepared to leave again. Desperate, I fell to my knees, clutching his feet. "Please take me home," I begged. "My mother must be worried. For God's sake, let me go." He smirked, his eyes cold. "Your mother has made my mother's life miserable. Did you really think I'd marry you? All my life, I've watched my father spend his earnings on you and your mother, caring more about you than his own family. Did you really think I loved you? Look at yourself in the mirror. I only wanted to show you your true worth." His words cut through me like a blade. He continued, "You want to go home? Fine, I'll drop you off. But don't you dare tell anyone you were with me. If you do, I'll deny everything, and no one will believe you." I was shattered, my heart crushed by the man I had trusted with my life. Silent tears streamed down my face as he drove me to a spot near my house and left me there. When I walked inside, my mother was in terrible shape, tears running down her face. She hugged me tightly, kissing my hands. "Where were you? What happened?" she asked desperately. I broke down and told her everything, the truth about Nadir, what he had done, and how I had trusted him. She was shocked, unable to believe her ears. How could Nadir do this? He's my brother's son, my blood. How could he stoop so low? But as she saw my broken state, she realized the truth in my words. My mother called my uncle and told him everything. He came over, bringing Nadir with him. When confronted, Nadir denied everything. "I did nothing," he said, glaring at me. "She's lying." He hurled insults at me, accusing me of things I hadn't done. My uncle, too, sided with his son. "Don't blame my son for your mistakes," he shouted. "You were gone for 3 nights. Who knows where you were or what you were doing? Don't you dare try to drag my son's name into this." He added bitterly, "My wife was right. Helping you two was a mistake. I regret ever supporting you. We're done." With that, he left with Nadir, severing all ties with us. I collapsed to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. My mom sat beside me, equally devastated. We were both silent, crushed by the weight of betrayal and heartbreak. I had paid a horrifying price for my mistake. Nadir had not only destroyed my dignity, but had also severed our bond with my uncle's family. My aunt had finally succeeded in her long-standing mission to drive us apart. Now, I sit on the threshold of my home, living with the consequences of my actions. I lost everything: my dignity, my trust, and my future. Who would ever marry a girl like me now? Life has become a daily struggle for survival. It has been 4 years since that fateful night. 4 years of crying myself to sleep, praying for forgiveness from God. Nadir is married now, living separately from my uncle and aunt. Ironically, his wife has distanced him from his own family. My uncle and aunt have lost their only son, and my aunt now longs to see his face, her pride reduced to ashes. Perhaps this is their punishment, but it brings me no peace. The scars of that night remain, a constant reminder of how one mistake changed everything.